Hey, Shalom, Akim Shalom. First and foremost, as always, I would like to give all praise, all honor, and all glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rahakodash. I would like to give double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders of Great Millstone that taught us his truth and that's what teaching his truth. And much peace, love, and salutation to the elect, beginning with 144,000, all the way down to the large multitude that believes and who the Lord will deliver in these last days. To you all I say Shalom. I'm the brother Tazamon from the Great Millstone Dallas camp, coming back today with another lesson. And I pray that this lesson will be edifying to the elect. And I want to do a lesson today entitled Strength and Weakness, Trusting the Lord's Grace. All right, strength and weakness, trusting the Lord's grace. And, inspiration of this lesson, just came by way, I rather say, of a conversation, beginning with Elder Apostle Racha, Elder Apostle Aram Lab, as well as some of us brothers in the Dallas camp, we were having last night, when the cameras was off, just hear the stories, you hear the the apostles mention the things that were happening at the old school, and particular, events and things, I rather say, that they had to go through and experience in order for them, to be here today. And it's all through, the grace and mercy of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Brothers being homeless, brothers going through particular ailments and things of that nature, whether it be ailments in the mind, demons and things that you battle, whether it be physical ailments in the body that we all deal with, some worse than others. But, the scriptures tell you how, the Lord's not going to, for lack of better words, the Lord's not going to put something on you that you cannot bear. Okay. And ultimately, the grace that's been given unto us, which is a gift, is sufficient for us to continue to keep pressing forward. I know Elder Apostle Gabar quotes the scripture a lot in the book of Micah, the 7th chapter. The scripture says, matter of fact, I'm gonna just read it real quick. This is Micah chapter 7, verse where is it at? I know it's in Micah 7. I will bear the indignation of the Lord. Is it Micah 7? Here it is. This is Micah chapter 7, verse 9. It says, I will bear the indignation of Yahweh because I have sinned against him until he plead my cause and execute judgment for me. You see, and what is indignation? Or ultimately indignation, when you get that word, it means righteous anger. Okay? So the scripture says that we are to bear, all right, the indignation of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Why? Because we have sinned against him. You see? So the things that the things that we're going through, whether it be in our minds, whether it be, in the body, in the flesh, particular judgments that may happen to us on this side, you got to keep in mind, or I rather say we have to keep in mind that, we could be, being judged for something that we've done in our past lives. Reincarnation is very, very real. We could be getting judged for something that we did in our past lives, things that we've done before, coming into the knowledge, as well as things that we still do in the knowledge, because we still sin, we still have evil thoughts at times. These are all just things that go through our mind, us being spiritual men. All right, so it says until he hath plead my cause and execute judgment for me. And ultimately the Lord pleading our cause and executing judgment is this system going down, our enemies being subject unto us, our bodies being transformed and changed. Whenever Yahweh Shai returns, as the scripture says, he's going to have healing in his wings. It says he will bring me forth to light, and I shall behold his righteousness. You see? And being brought forth to the light is ultimately being brought forth to the truth. Being brought forth to the knowledge. It says, and I shall behold his righteousness, man. Okay? Hey, there's a scripture, I think it's in Psalm 17, that says, well, I shall see him as he is. When Yahweh Shai, when the Lord changed our vile bodies, whereas it's going to be likened unto his glorious body, that's the day that we're ultimately looking for. But in order for us to get there, we got to go through it. We got to go through it to get to it. We got to be, we got to be humiliated, for lack of better words, in order to receive the prize. Okay, so this is one of the scriptures that we brought out yesterday. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 7. It says, and least I should be exalted above measure through the abundance of revelations. there was given to me a thorn in the flesh, the messenger of Satan to buffet me, lest I should be exalted above measure. You see? So the Apostle Paul, you know, he dealt with Yahweh Shai. You know, he dealt with Yahweh Shai on a very, you know, I'd rather say the Yahweh Shai dealt with the Apostle Paul. I'd rather say it like that. Slack it 1 second. Yahweh Shai dealt with the Apostle Paul on a very, very high level. You see, the Apostle Paul didn't have to be taught, all right, by the apostles, you know, by the 12, you know. He didn't have to go learn through them or anything like that. No, Yahweh Shai came directly to the Apostle Paul and taught him directly, you know, in the spirit. So the Apostle Paul, you know, he received a lot of heavy information. You know, the Apostle Peter, you know, backs that up, you know, where pretty much he's, you know, the scriptures talk about how, you know, how many people, you know, they'll wrestle, you know, with the things that the Apostle Paul says, because they don't really truly understand in the spirit. So to keep the Apostle Paul humble, you know, he had a thorn in his flesh, and that thorn in his flesh, it doesn't really explain what that was. It maybe could have been, you know, an ailment he was dealing with in his body. You know, maybe his eyes could have been messed up. Who knows? But he was dealing with something that was in the flesh would slow you down. You see, it says there was given to me a thorn in the flesh, the messenger of Satan. All right, the messenger of Satan to buffet me, lest I should be exalted above measure. You see, because when you're not going through things, you know, when you're not going through things and everything is just going so-called good in your life, you know, you could ultimately, you know, begin to become proud. You know, as the scripture says, knowledge puffeth up, but charity edifieth, man. You know, you could become, you begin to be wise in your own conceits. You see, so, you know, whatever ailments that we're dealing with, ultimately is from, you know, Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai to keep us in a state of being humble. Verse 8, it says, for this thing I besought the Lord thrice, that it might depart from me. Right? And that word thrice means 3. So he prayed to the Lord 3 times that whatever the thorn he was dealing with would go away. But it didn't. Right? Verse 9, and he said unto me, my grace is sufficient for thee. And that's heavy. Yahweh Shai, and this is Yahweh Shai speaking, the words are already said, my grace is sufficient for thee. Now, when you get this word, sufficient, all right, when you get this word sufficient, that word sufficient here in the Greek is arkeo. All right, arkeo. Okay, and when you get the definition here, right, I'll read the bold word first and then I'll scroll down. All right, it says to be possessed of unfailing strength. You see that? To be possessed of unfailing strength. And that ultimately, that unfailing strength comes through Yahweh Shai. Remember, the scripture says that we are dead and our life is hid in Hamashiach Yahweh Shai. So the strength that we have, you know, the ability to keep pressing forward and keep going on, all right, that comes from Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai, man. That's the strength that's been given unto us. It's through him. You know, remember the scriptures say that that we die daily. You know? So it says to be possessed of unfailing strength, to be strong, right? So my grace is what ultimately makes you strong, right? It says to be strong, to suffice, to be enough, right? It says as against any danger, hence to defend, ward off. You see? Let's check this out. It says my grace is sufficient for thee, namely, to enable thee to bear the evil manfully. You see that? To bear the evil manfully. You see, and the Lord has called us to be men in this thing, man. You know, sometimes, you know, you going through, you know, sometimes whenever we go through things, you know, it's just best just to deal with it, you know, and we do deal with it. You know, you may have a conversation with a brother about what you're going through, and there's nothing wrong with that. Obviously, you know, we're here to bear each other's burdens and to give strength and give, you know, words of encouragement and exhortation. Absolutely. You know, that's what the brotherhood is here for, you know. But ultimately as well, you know, there's times where you just have to go through things on your own. And sometimes it's just better just to, you know, just to leave it, you know, just let it be between you and Yahweh Shai. You and Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. And you just go through it manfully, man. So it says to enable thee to bear the evil manfully. See? It says, there is therefore no reason why thou shouldest ask for its removal. And that's heavy, man, because you hear the apostles going to that a lot. You know, when you're going through something, don't pray. You know, don't pray for the Lord to remove it. Don't pray for the Lord to take it away. You know, but ultimately, you know, pray to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua that he gives you the strength, you know, to be able to endure it. You know, because that's ultimately what we've been called into this truth to do is to endure hardness. The scripture says, endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahweh Shah HaMashiach. And to endure means to make hard. You know, so you know we gotta, you know, we gotta make ourselves hard in this thing, even more hard, especially as we know, you know, what's getting ready to come down the pipe with Jacob's trouble. You know, hey, the scripture says, you know, cast your burdens upon the Lord. You know, and when I read that, man, that was heavy. You know, because that's something that's been told to us by our apostles on down. All right, verse 10, it says, therefore I take pleasure in infirmities, in reproaches, in necessities, in persecutions, in distresses for Hamashiach's sake. For when I am weak, then am I strong. You see, hey, our strength is made perfect in weakness, man. You know, so we could look weak on the outward level. You know, we could look weak on the outward level. You know, bodily ailments and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, through Yahweh Shah HaMashiach, man, we're conquerors, man. We're strong in Yahweh Shah, man. You see, and it's beautiful. You know how the Lord, it's beautiful how the Lord, you know, made the story and how He set it up. Ultimately, at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, it's all spiritual, of course, and it's very, very, you know, beautiful how, you know, you watch a movie or whatever the case may be, and how the underdog comes out on top. You know, the main character, he could be getting, you know, he could be getting his ass beat, and at the very end of the movie, you know, there's a climax, and at the end of the movie, he ends up, you know, coming out on top as the winner, being victorious. You know, and that's really, you know, and that's really us. You know, we're gonna come out through Yahweh Shah. We're gonna come out victorious, man. You know, we're more than conquerors. You know. Let's get another precept here, man, because, you know, it's various different examples of where the Lord's strength is in, you know, our weakness. You know, this is Isaiah the 40th chapter. Isaiah chapter 40, verse verse 29. All right, it says, he giveth power to the faint. Now, what does it mean to faint? Let's get that word faint here. He giveth power to the faint. Okay, that word power is ya'ip. Okay, that word is ya'ip, and that word power here says power. It says weary, faint, but it says of mind and spirit. All right, so that word faint means the faint of the mind, of the spirit. So like when you feeling down and out, when you feel like you're at your last end, that's where Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua comes through, and he'll give you power. He'll give you what? Strength of mind, and it's through Yahweh Shai. He giveth power to the faint, and to them that have no might, he increaseth strength. And that begins on this side, man. Because, you know, when you read down, it says, even the youth shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall utterly fall. You know, I'm a young man. You know, using me as an example, you know, I'm a young man. You know, and it's, you know, I have, you know, got particular ailments and things that you deal with. So it's like, you know, just imagine being older. You know, look at our apostles, man. You know, they're older men. You know, they're older men. You know, but they're still fighting in this thing. You know, and been battling, you know, particular demons, you know, mental demons and things of that nature, you know, for 35, 40, you know, 40 years, man. You know, and, you know, it's beautiful because, you know, you still see Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua dealing with these men on a high level, you know, ultimately to feed the flock as we've been commanded to do. You know, it's a Psalm 73 and 26. It says, my flesh and my heart faileth, and your heart is your mind. You know, sometimes you feel like you could be losing your mind, man. You know, it says my flesh and my heart faileth. You know, like I said, dealing with particular, you know, bodily ailments that actually deal, you know, that actually is attacking your flesh. Like particular sicknesses and pains and aches and pains and things of that nature, right? It says, my flesh and my heart faileth, but the Most High is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. You see, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, he's the one that gives us the strength to continue to endure. He's the one that gives us the strength to continue to go out to the highways and hedges and keep, preaching and doing these lessons and keep feeding the flock. You see? And ultimately for us to, receive the prize, it takes a great deal of being humble, like I mentioned earlier, man. Because, you see a lot of Israelites, you see a lot of Jakes who don't really truly understand the aspect of humility. They truly don't understand what it means to be humble and putting themselves last. You got a lot of Jakes that want to put themselves up on this pedestal when that's not the example that Yahushua left for us. You see, this is Proverbs 3:34. It says, surely he scorneth the scorners, but he giveth grace unto the lowly. Now remember, Yahushua said it. He said, my grace is sufficient for thee. But grace is going to be given to the lowly, man. Grace isn't going to be given to those who feel like they're on this high and mighty level and that nobody can't tell them anything. This ain't how we supposed to do it. This is the way you're supposed to do it. I ain't doing it that way. We doing it this way. Putting yourself up on this high and mighty level as if as if you somebody, man. The scripture says that the greater thou art, the more humble thyself, for lack of better words. All right, this is Sirach or Ecclesiasticus chapter 2, verse 4. It says, whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully. As we read earlier, man. You deal with it manfully, man. Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate. And to be patient, patience is suffering. We're to suffer whenever we're changed into a low estate. Whenever we're brought low, whenever we're at our ends meet, for lack of better words, right? It says, for gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity. See, gold is tried in the fire, man, and we've been called. The scripture says that we have been chosen in the furnace of affliction. And that's us in this truth, man. The scripture says that what's that? Zechariah 13:8. See, he will bring a third part through the fire. Wisdom of Solomon 3. So when you go through the fire, it's not comfortable. It don't feel good. But that's just Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, purging out impurities and things of that nature, and ultimately testing our character. All right, 1 Peter 5:6. Humble yourselves, therefore, under the mighty hand of the Most High, that he may exalt you in due time. You see, we have to humble ourselves before Yahweh Bashem Yahushai before you can exalt yourself. Because at the end of the day, I'll say it like this: at the end of the day, you can't even exalt yourself. You can think that you're exalting yourself, but the only one that can really truly exalt you is Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And the ultimate form of exaltation, man, is going to be whenever Yahushai crowns us. Lord willing, we have that number. Whenever Yahushai crowns the elect. That's going to be whenever you're going to be exalted. Being beamed up into the chariot, being delivered from destruction, and ultimately receiving that crown from the hands of Yahushai himself. You see, that's when you're exalted. But another man had to exalt you. You don't exalt yourself. Verse 7, it says, casting all your care upon him, for he careth for you. You see? Hey, what's that? Psalm 55. It says what? Cast your burdens. I quoted it earlier. But cast your burdens upon the Lord. It says, I guarantee you that's one of the cross reference. I bet it is. There it is right there. Psalm 55:22. Cast thy burden upon Yahweh, and he shall sustain thee. He shall never suffer the righteous to be moved. You see? So we have to cast our burden unto or upon Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. And what? Yahweh Bashem Yahushai ultimately will sustain us to have us go through it and to be to go pretty much to bear it, man. Because we can't bear it on our own. I can't bear it on my own. You can't bear it on your own. But I guarantee you Yahweh Bashem Yahushai can. So whenever we going through things, whether it be, physical ailments, mental ailments, just things going on in our lives, understand and know that, the weaknesses that we deal with in the flesh and mind and just in general, we show forth our strength by our weakness. I'd rather say, we show forth the strength of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai in the state of weakness that we could be dealing with. You know, and we trust in Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai's grace that this is only going to be for a season, as it's written. You know, the affliction is, you know, the affliction's yet, but for a little moment, for lack of better words. You know? So that's it on that. You know, I pray this lesson is edifying to the elect of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Once again, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem HaKadosh. I would like to give double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone that taught us his truth and that's what teaching his truth. And much peace, love, and salutation to the elect. Until next time, Lord willing, I say shalom.